Good morning, members, and to the viewing public who are watching our this morning's budget hearing with the Marianas Visitor Authority through our live feed and our social media platform. The chair will now call this morning's budget hearing to order. And with 7 members present from the Standing Committee on Ways and Means, we have duly established a quorum. So with that, we move to our next order of business, item 2, adoption of agenda, and do I hear a motion? There is a motion to adopt today's agenda, and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion is adopted. Moving along, we are now on item 3, public comments. And at this time, if there's any members of the public who are here in the gallery who wishes to make oral testimony, the podium is open. Seeing that there is no members of the public to provide oral testimony, therefore public comments is now closed. And we move further down on our order of business, which is item 4, introduction and statement of the chair. So at this time, Ms. Director Jamaica Tyrone, and to your team, board members, on behalf of the Standing Committee on Ways and Means, we thank you guys for coming before us to discuss your budget request and, of course, the budget proposal from the administration that was submitted to the legislature back in April 1st. And before I give you the floor, Director, and to your team, let me just first recognize and introduce the members of the Standing Committee. Starting from myself, I am Representative J.P. Sablon, Chair of the committee. To my left is Representative B.J. Atto, Vice Chair of the committee. And we have to his left Representative Vincent O'Don. And to his left, we have Representative Roma Beneventi. To his left, we have Representative Angelo Camacho. And to the other side of the aisle, we have Representative Malcolm Omar. And to his left, we have Representative Denita Yangtimay. Assisting our committee this morning are our bureau staff, starting with our legal counsel, Mr. Joseph Hallahan, our budget analyst, Mr. T.G. Rabago, our senior legislative assistant, Ms. Claire Sablon. We have our IT, Mr. Jonathan Diaz, and we also have our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Pete Tuwai. Also this morning with us to assist us from the administration, we have Madam Secretary of Finance, Ms. Tracy Norida, and of course from OMB, Ms. Vicky Villagomez. So with that said, at this time, Director Tyrone, I give you now the floor for your opening statement and for your presentation to this full body. You have the floor.
Hafaday, Tiro, and good morning. Chairman John Paul Sablon, Vice Chairman B.J. Attow, and members of this House Ways and Means Committee. On behalf of our outstanding MVA team and our committed Board of Directors, thank you for the opportunity to present our FY 2026 budget. Today's presentation isn't going to just be about funding. It is going to be about strengthening the engine that powers our economy. When we invest in tourism, we grow revenue, not just for MVA, but for the entire CNMI. We know that the CNMI is facing some difficult times. Revenues are limited and priorities across the government are pressing. We understand that. But that's exactly why tourism needs to remain at the forefront. Because unlike other parts of the economy, tourism doesn't just require funding, it generates it. Every flight we bring in, every visitor we welcome, every hotel night booked, these dollars ripple across the entire economy. They support our retirees, they support our municipal governments, they support public safety and education, and they strengthen our broader operations as a commonwealth. When tourism grows, everyone benefits. And while we've made steady progress, we're still in recovery mode. Flight service remains fragile, and global competition for visitors is stronger than ever. If we don't invest now, we risk losing the gains we've worked hard to rebuild and losing out on future opportunities. Not many people realize that by law, MVA receives only 72.4% of HOT collections. The other 27.6% A significant amount goes to the settlement fund, to our mayors, and to the Department of Finance. That's why we say when tourism performs well, everyone sees a share. But when it falters, everyone feels the impact. Earlier this year, the suspension of EVS TAP program showed us how quickly we can slip. We estimate that suspension cost the Commonwealth over $60,000 in hot revenue alone. That's $60,000 less for retirees, mayors, and government services. It's a reminder that uncertainty has a real cost. We also recognize that there are differing views on where we should market and which countries we should prioritize. But what we've learned is that no single market can carry us. Korea has helped us stay afloat, but it is not sustainable to depend on one single market. Japan and China remain uncertain, and if we want stability, we need to diversify, we need consistency, and that requires commitment and it requires resources. That is why today we are not here only to discuss our budget. We are seeking to gain your support for our recovery initiatives, to align on key priorities, to make aggressive yet wise investments, and we are looking for your leadership through these trying times. The decisions made in this room today will directly influence how quickly and how strongly our economy can recover. Tourism doesn't just rebound on its own, it is a collaborative and intentional process. This is a chance for us all to lead this recovery, not just for tourism's sake, but for the thousands of families, small businesses, and young people whose future depends on it. That's why we are respectfully requesting two things. One, that the full projected hotel occupancy tax be allocated to MVA. And two, that this amount be supplemented with support from the general fund or other fiscal resources, because the HOT alone would not be enough to meet our recovery needs this year. Thank you again for your time, your leadership, and for continuing to support the recovery and growth efforts of our islands. And after this presentation, we look forward to your questions and to your guidance. In the next few slides, we would like to talk about our historic visitor arrivals, our current challenges, and our plans for tourism recovery. But before we start that, we would like to introduce our team and what we do. Under the new leadership of Chairman Warren Sablan, our 9-member board, Our 9-member board of directors brings a well-rounded blend of public and private sector experience, from emergency preparedness and business leadership to hospitality, education, finance, and experience-driven tourism development. Our board is ready to lead tourism recovery. With 31 employees across Saipan, Tinian, and Rota offices, our dedicated staff and management team bring deep operational knowledge and frontline experience, from destination marketing and community engagement to event planning, partnership building, and day-to-day tourism management. Our team is ready to lead tourism recovery. In all we do, we are guided by our mission, which is to promote and develop the Marianas as a premier destination of choice for visitors from throughout the world while providing a maximum quality of life for our people. We nurture and encourage cultural interchange and environmental sensitivity for visitors' enjoyment and for our children's children. We break that down into 3 categories: promoting and developing our destination, enriching the quality of lives of our people, and enhancing our islands for the enjoyment of visitors and our community. Let's go over these 3 categories and what we do to achieve our mission. First, promoting and developing our destination. Marketing and promotions is one of the most critical parts of our agency. We strive to build destination awareness and drive demand in 3 ways. First, direct-to-consumer marketing, where we use content creation, influencers, and host events and festivals. Some examples are below. We recently had a TV show that filmed some episodes on Saipan, and they brought a family, and this was to attract our family market because that's a huge market for us. The next one, we had also journey of a man's life, and he came and did different things on the islands and he showed his viewers what the islands has to offer. We also partnered with Beams. Beams is a fashion brand in Japan with over 200 retail stores, and they've sent a few influencers to the islands. One of them was also featured on America's Got Talent, and she has over 1 million followers. And throughout the month of July and August, more of them will be coming to film content and promote our islands. Travel trade marketing, this is where we create packages, fam tours, we host shows, and we work with our agency partners to drive visitors to the island. And airline support, we work with the 4 airlines that we currently have to the islands: T-Way, Jeju, United, and Hong Kong Airlines. And we work with them to provide marketing support and partnerships to promote more flights to the islands. The next one is enriching quality of lives with experiences. The MVA hosts 7 signature annual events across the islands. And we have several events which we sponsor as well across Tinian, Rota, and Saipan, and some of the events on all islands at the same time. And finally, to enhance our destination, we also do our part to keep the islands clean, maintained, and presentable for visitors. Our Rota field office maintains 17 sites throughout the island. Our Tinian office, 24 sites. And on Saipan, we work closely with Parks and Recs and the Mayor's office on site maintenance, and we supply fuel, parts, supplies, and equipment to support those efforts. Our product development team also maintains some of the directional and safety signs and develops other attractions like the iconic Hafaday Tiro sign and other photo ops throughout the island. Now we'd like to shift a bit to discuss our visitor arrivals over the past years. Looking at this chart from FY 1978 to 2025, you can see that in 1997, we had our peak arrivals at over 700,000 in that year. Then you can see the different global events that happened: the Asian economic crisis, 9/11, Iraq War, SARS, and you can see how our arrivals were significantly impacted by that, most recently COVID. External factors can quickly disrupt our economy, often beyond our control. Historically, full rebound and recovery have taken up to 7 years, with major global events causing even further delays. However, we were able to recover because we fought for it, we invested, and we diversified. Taking a closer look at recent years, 2025 marks year 4 of rebounding our tourism industry after COVID, and we've had many setbacks this past year, which I will share later. Over the past 4 years, MVA has been fighting for recovery, and we've invested, but we haven't diversified, and that is part of the setback that we've seen in 2025. Our market share, compared to pre-COVID, was pretty diversified: 49% from Korea, 39% from China, and 6% each from Japan and others. But today, we are 70% of Korea and just 9% from China, 7% from Japan, and 14% from others. So we clearly need more diversity in our market share. Looking at our air seat capacity, we can see that we have a significant decrease in Korea air seat capacity. We have a 100% decrease in direct flights from China, as well as a significant decrease in Hong Kong flights. Now let's take a look at some challenges that are specifically impacting our tourism industry. We will look first at external factors, and those are factors that are beyond our control. And then we will look at local factors, and those are things that we can work together to address. First, external factors. The unfavorable currency exchange rate make it significantly more expensive for people from Japan, Korea, and even China to visit our destinations. So looking at the yellow line, compared to 2021, where the Japanese yen was 109, most recently it's up in about 150 or so. So that makes it significantly more expensive for them to come here, and they are the most impacted. Followed by Korea, where their Korean won was 1145 in 2021, and now it's 1452. Again, a huge impact there. And also the China market is impacted, but not as significantly. Aircraft availability is also a huge issue, and this is a global issue. Every single airline that we've spoken to is affected. And this makes it more difficult for us to attract airlines to come to our islands when there's so much competition with the use of their aircrafts. Most recently, the crash in Jeju, the Jeju airline crash in December of 2024, caused the government to put some safety and maintenance requirements on different Korean air carriers, specifically LCCs, and that is why we are impacted today with cancellations and unstable flight service from Korea. Geopolitical factors also plays a huge role in the external factors that impact our tourism. Most recently, as I mentioned earlier, the EVS TAP halt from early part of April until just recently caused us to lose a lot of the momentum that we gained over the years. Now on to local factors. Airline profitability concerns. We've met with different airlines, and they've all shared that they have concerns with profitability to our route. So specifically, one of the airlines said high operational costs, low revenue, local inflation, and exchange rate fluctuations. And those are all real issues. Another one said that the company is reviewing and reorganizing routes based on profitability. And during low season, the Saipan route runs at a 31,000 deficit per flight. That's huge. Flights are not yet profitable due to low ticket prices and demand. So these are all issues that we currently are dealing with locally with the airlines. And we've worked closely, and we continue to work closely with CPA and our other partners to see how we can support the airlines so that they would find profit in this route and they will not be pulling their flights out or reducing flights. Increased competition. Another feedback that we got is that Saipan travel packages are much higher than Southeast Asia destinations like Phu Quoc. So they gave us a $150 package versus Saipan is $500 for the same time. And that includes airfare, that includes 3 nights of hotel. These screenshots here below, they are also including airfare, hotel, and a bunch of different packages like sightseeing, even massage, and that's $270. We cannot compete with that because it includes airfare, it includes hotels. But what we can do is we can find ways to build value with our hotel partners to work on specific packages that would increase the value for our visitors. And lack of accessible travel products. Travelers today are looking for food, sports, education, language, history, innovation. They're looking for what kind of sustainable initiatives we have on the island for culture, agritourism, adventure, shopping, locally sourced goods, traditions, and immersion. And we have a lot of this, but it's not easily accessible. and that is something that we need to develop as a community. Now let's discuss our plans to recover our economy and what kind of investment we need to do it. We know that we are currently challenged with inconsistent air service. However, let's take a moment to work backwards. In order to get reliable and consistent air service, there must be demand. In order to build the demand, we must have products that are attractive to our markets. So now let's work forward. And this year's goal is to develop those tourism products. If we have attractive tourism products for our markets, we would be able to build the demand from those existing markets. When the demand exists, we will be able to stabilize our existing air service. And then we will be able to engage with new markets and build demand from those markets. And that will in turn attract new air service. And at that point, we will have more visitors on the island where we can heavily promote inter-island tourism and ensure that visitors get to experience all that the Marianas has to offer. Tourism recovery will not be instant, and it will require time and investment. Our 3-year growth plan involves aggressive negotiations with the airlines and travel agencies, effective direct-to-consumer marketing, product development across the business sector, intergovernmental coordinated efforts, and intentional and effective promotion of the Marianas. By the end of the year 3 growth plan, the Marianas should be positioned to track pre-COVID arrival levels by year 4 and beyond. Again, this plan will take time and it will take investment. So let's see what that investment looks like in the first year. This scenario, the MVA is seeking a budget of $10.9 million. With this budget, we will be able to see an increased marketing and promotions in our current market. We will be able to have active airline and travel agency negotiations. We will be able to enhance our events, create new travel products, and proactively upkeep all of our sites. We will be able to expand beyond Asia and into new markets. And the impact that this will bring is a higher demand for FIT and packages on all the islands, better engagement with our markets, stronger airline partnerships, and stable air service. We will see greater visitor satisfaction and pride, more word of mouth and repeat visits, and a stronger image of the Marianas. And we will have broader awareness, diverse visitor base, improved resilience to regional shifts, and stronger long-term growth. And this is what it could look like in the coming years. This year, we received 167,000. We're anticipating 167,000 arrivals. And with this investment, we should be able to start seeing a growth of up to 224,000 and beyond with continued investment. So we anticipate that our estimated hot collections would be 7.9 million, and after all the deductions, the net MVA collections will be 5.7 million. So what we are asking the legislature today is to appropriate us and but give us that full collection of hotel occupancy tax. In addition, to find another funding source for 5.2 million to make up that 10.9 million budget that we require for these efforts this year. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2 of a $6.4 million budget, the MVA will be able to have continued current marketing and limited innovation. We'll be able to have ongoing airline uncertainty at this point. Local events and destination upkeep will be continued with minor updates. and we'll be able to retain all our current staff and hours, but we will have a stagnant tourism industry. This impact for that is will sustain existing awareness, but it limits our ability to grow and adapt. We will have unstable airline service, and we may reduce traveler confidence. We will be able to maintain engagement, but we risk declining interest without having new offerings or upgrades. And we'll be able to ensure continuity and avoid job losses, but it will limit our growth, our capacity for growth, training, and for any new initiatives. So it'll be just basically the same as this year. And what that would look like is we are anticipating a decline. Even though it's the same as this year, we've already seen that airlines are pulling back. We've seen the many challenges, and we are expecting that even with that budget, we will see a slight decline in visitor arrivals. So for this scenario, the MVA anticipates a collection of $4.9 million in hotel occupancy tax, and after all of the deductions, MVA's net HOT is going to be 3.5 million. And we will also need to find legislative funding support for the remaining 2.8 million in this scenario. Now scenario 3, and this is a budget of 3.584 million, and this is just hotel occupancy tax alone, no additional funding from the legislature, just simply the hotel occupancy tax collections that we are anticipating for this year, for FY26. The result is substantial cuts to our offshore marketing and promotional budgets. We'll have to scale back or cancel our destination and community events such as Taste of Marianas and others. We will reduce our site maintenance and enhancement efforts. We will have a reduction in work hours and staff positions, and we will have continued economic decline and economic collapse. The impact is a decline in destination visibility, weakened demand, loss of market momentum, and a reduced competitiveness. There will be diminished visitor experience and lower resident quality of life due to neglected spaces and fewer community activities. And we will have economic hardships directly impacting over 30 families of the MVA with ripple effects across the entire community. We anticipate that several airlines will significantly reduce their flights to the islands or possibly even pull out, and we anticipate a huge drop in visitor arrivals. In this scenario, MVA expects to collect $4.9 million in HOT. After the collections, we will have an operating budget of $3.5 million, and that will be result in a $2.8 million reduction in programs. So here's all the three scenarios together. This is the best possible scenario with pulling down the decrease that we're seeing now and bringing us into economic stability and recovery. The other two, the second scenario is going to be status quo, and it may even result in a decrease in the next year. And then scenario 3 will result in certain flight suspensions, significant reduction in visitors, and certain economic collapse. So these are the scenarios that we would like you to consider, and we are hoping for your favorable support with scenario 1 because we are committed to tourism recovery, and we know that everybody here is as well. And again, it's not just funding MVA, but with every fund that MVA gets, we will see an impact in the entire community and across the islands. So that's the end of our presentation, and we welcome any questions or thoughts or guidance with this.
Thank you, Director, for the very informative presentation. So let us start now with questions and answers. And before we do that, let me recognize one of our members that are just stepped in. That is Representative Joe Flores, who is with us this morning. So, Madam Director, currently you have 41 employees. Is that correct? In India?
Currently, there's 31 employees.
31?
Yes.
41 FTEs.
41 F, so there is 10 FTs still vacant.
Yes.
So, well, the question now is, are there any efforts with MVA to try to fill these vacancies?
We definitely see the need to fill several vacancies, but at this point, we do not have the funding to do so.
Okay. So with the 31 FTs right now filled, are those all locals or those are inclusive of the offices abroad?
Those are all local. There's 4 on Tinian, 4 in Rhoda, and the rest here on site.
Here in Saipan, okay. And then walk us through on how is this that MVA currently has offices in Korea?
We do. We have an offshore in Korea and in Japan.
Okay, so can you walk us through with this August body? What are the expenses when having an office there? How much do we spend annually having an office in Korea or having an office in Japan?
Yeah.
What are those figures?
Okay. So right now, and team, please step in. All right. I'm fairly new, but I believe I have the information here. Our Korea office we have a contract of $1.8 million. And what that gets us is basically for the whole year, they would be responsible for certain key performance indicators to help us spread awareness in Korea and to deliver results for visitors coming to the islands. And
Maybe show them that slide where our marketing programs, that's what they implement.
oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Judy.
And if you the roles of these offices, I know that part of the role is to market and promote our destination, right? Is that part of the package?
Yes.
1.8?
So these are examples of what they help us accomplish. So they hook us up with different partners and promoters and influencers to bring them either to the islands so that they would be able to use their network and their followers to build demand. And they would also help us to link up with different groups. Like this is an example in Japan where we've created a sister relationship with Hiroshima, and they've come here to the islands. They brought investors. We went there. They also help us to put together like these kind of roadshows and seminars so that we would be able to share information about the Marianas and help us create packages for tourists to come to the islands.
So if Korea office abroad is 1.8, what is how much are we spending with the Japan office?
Japan's contract is $1 million.
One straight.
Right.
And I know that part of the package is marketing and promotion, right? And I know that you guys have availed also from NMHC funding for promotion as well. Are these separate? The funding from NMHC separate from what you guys are budgeting this offshore office?
Yes, it is separate.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the funding that you are awarded here from NMHC, what is the MVA using that as? I know it's only limited or restricted to promotion and marketing. So, what are the programs are you guys are using those funds here on island?
When we were first awarded the CDBGDR, we were using it for offshore. We used it for Japan and Taiwan. But there were so much restrictions with the grant that maybe after a year or two, we went with our local funds to fund our offshore markets. So now we're using it for travel and trade shows, for booth setup, booth registration, for the travels expense to send our staff over. We're using it for global branding. We're also going to be it's CDBGR will be used to fund the airport signs on Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. Magazine advertisement. We have done advertisement at Marianas Business Journal, Stars and Stripes. So it's all mostly like marketing and promotion related activities that are performed outside the Marianas and in the key areas.
And-
We also a couple years ago we used it for a media blitz program in Korea. That's doing out of home entertainment, elevator advertisement, bus and subway advertisement. So those are the things that we use CDBGDR for.
Thank you for that response. So it leads me to my next question on your presentation, Director, on the local factors, and part of it is airline profitability, right? So my question is there any task force on all the stakeholders, meaning MVA, CPA, the hotel association, in trying to create perhaps a more profitable package for all these destinations that we're trying our best to get tourism our way? I know that perhaps CPA had gave most of our airlines right now that are coming our way a 50% discount on landing fees. But what are the other stakeholders are doing? So my first question is there such a task force that can, that you guys can all work together to kind of create a more solid package for our tourism, that to make it more promising destination?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So at the moment, there is no official task force, but the MVA has submitted a proposal to the governor to create a task force, and we are just seeking his support to create that, and it will involve basically every agency on the island, because it really would require everybody to be aligned. And so within the next coming weeks, we anticipate to officiate that task force. But unofficially, the MVA and CPA and other partners are meeting. So for example, CPA, we meet with them biweekly, and what we work with them on is sharing the concerns of the airlines. And it's usually like one by one, different concerns. Each airline has a different need that they have. So we work together to address those needs. And right now, from what I understand, CPA is looking at how they can possibly reduce some of the square footage, which will reduce some of the costs for the airlines. CPA does have also restrictions with the FAA and their on their part, but which I'm not fully aware of, but they are trying to reduce some of the expenses for landing. And then with our partners, we are trying to make it work all across the board with the travel agencies and with the airlines. So if airlines are saying that they need the air seats to be sold at a certain price, then we work with the travel agencies and say, okay, airline needs it to be sold at $300. Can you buy the air seats at $300? Plus, let's work with the different hotels on the islands and pull the hotel prices down a little bit, so that when we combine everything, the price will be well received by the traveler, and they'll be willing to purchase that package. So we do work very closely with all the different partners to maximize the different resources that each of us has individually to make it collectively attractive to our visitors.
Right. And I agree with you. And, it doesn't stop with airlines. We need to work very closely also. It's just as important to work with the travel agencies, because these are the agencies that are filling the seats, right?
That's right.
Even if we have an airline committed to come our way without filling these seats, it doesn't even work that way. So what are the incentive or NVA is giving to the travel agencies? Can you walk us through with the members that don't really understand?
Sure.
How do you deal with travel agencies and versus airlines?
It's usually the offshore and usually
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. So that's one of the responsibilities of our offshore offices in Japan and Korea, and they also use their budget for that. So they would create, like, just as an example, oh, yes.
As an example,
As
like
an
what
ex-
are the travel agencies are asking us as a government, like what kind of incentive
Okay.
to help them create seats or, push for seats?
Okay, so Thomas Kim is our marketing manager, and maybe he can provide some information on that.
Thank you. This is Thomas Kim, the marketing manager. So we do have a dedicated budget every year. So we do have a quarterly tour agent support program that we run, and mainly in Korea at the moment.
What?
So,
representative office.
right, yeah, so it's conducted through our MV Korea office. So we do assist with creating packages. We also invite them over for fam tours, and we also educate them on newer products that we have here on island.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
So recently, as we all know, starting from March to June, we had flight disruptions from both Tiwi and Jeju. And so those flights have since resumed already. So right now we have 3 flights a day, which is, it's good for us. But one of the airlines has already provided us their schedule for this summer fall schedule. And between now and the end of October, they will kind of like start and stop their flights. So there'll be intermittent times, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, where they will start and stop. And that's seasonal. So that one airline had a huge ask from us for support, and it was too huge that we couldn't support it with our current capabilities, right? But the other airline, they also had a similar concern, and so what MVA did was we didn't straight out, give any support directly, or we didn't give a significant support directly to the airlines. What we did was we worked with the travel agencies. There's 5 travel agencies where we worked with them to secure the seats, to make sure that that airline doesn't stop between now and the end of October. So those are the kind of ways that we partner with the travel agencies.
Right.
And they would perform like hard blocks. They would pre-buy the seats
Okay.
from the aircraft so that the aircraft will fly.
Right. And so, as an example, we can assume like the travel agent will agree that they'll pay for 50% of the air seats, and MVA will pledge to pay for the other 50. Is that the kind of instances or negotiation? Can you just
No.
walk us through on what kind
Yeah.
of negotiations where you
Using-
secure seats? Is what we
Thank
we
you.
want to
Give me one
understand.
Maybe Thomas can, using that Jeju, give him an example of how they're using that promotional budget with the 5 airlines, 5 travel agencies. Yeah, and then how they get the payment, or how they get compensated. No, how, the 120,000, without saying like the specific amount, what do the airline agencies do for us, and then how do they get compensated with that money? Or is it like we give it straight to them, or they use it for marketing budget? Yeah.
So, pretty much when we do involve the agencies when we fly, let's say, a new service to the island, we usually target those 5 major travel agencies that our MD mentioned earlier. And we pretty much ask them what's their price that they won't want to engage with. In this case, a hard block seat, right? So they give us a price, and then we bring that offering to the airline, and then the airline see if they can match the price, and then if they can't, if the airline price is a bit higher than what the agency is asking for, then we step in and we provide monetary service. Or if it's not direct monetary support that we provide, we do exchange in marketing support. So any marketing efforts that they conduct through their travel agencies, they tell us the total value of that, and then we support whether it's 50% of that or whatever the percentage may be. Yeah, so that's pretty much how we conduct
Okay.
hard block seats. Yeah.
Thank you for that response. And we know from other countries that perhaps some of these countries out there that when we were doing some research, some of them use like zero landing fees, right, as their incentive, right? So those are the kind of incentives that we as a body, we want to kind of understand what are the package that NVA has to make it competitive, right? Because you're right, even with the power of the yen and the won, perhaps these tourists from Korea and Japan are going to cheaper destinations like Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, right? And as versus our destination here where we deal with US dollars, perhaps, right? It's competing, right? So we need to be more aggressive with incentive, right? So that we can market our destination, and that's what I'm trying to allude to. So I'm going to open it up to more of the members, and let me recognize the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Tyrone, good morning and welcome to your chamber, to you and your team. Can we go back to the chart that laid the different scenarios?
Okay, here you go.
So right now, with the submission from the administration, there's $7.2 million, and out of 7.2, MVA is looking at $5-some million, less whatever the Rhoda Tinian, Saipan, Mayor's office would get on OPA, and 2.5 to finance. Of this amount, are you calculating the CDBGDR money into this, into your budget projection for scenario 1 or whatever, scenario 2,
Yeah.
3?
Thank you. Yeah, this scenario does not include CDBGDR funds because it also expires by the end of this year, and we are anticipating to get our reimbursements by the end of the year. Yeah.
Reimbursements for the current fiscal year? And how much are we looking at?
Judy, here.
So far, with a total grant award of 7.5 million, we have already been reimbursed from CDBGR $2.7 million. We have about 1.4 million that are approved, that are all ongoing, and usually with those, we will not submit invoice until the end of the project, such as the global branding, the airport signs, and some trade shows that we have attended, either have attended or upcoming. We will be engaging in some social media influencers project, content creating programs, as well as finding out from our past meeting that we can also submit eligible activities that were not CDBGDR. We can submit them for reimbursement, such as the MVA Korea office. Last year, there were some activities that, so we'll be submitting invoices to CDBGR for reimbursements. So we are expecting to exhaust everything by the end of the year. And then also, in addition to our marketing activities, it is also used to fund the salary for our research and marketing staff.
Okay, so you said there's 2.7 in reimbursements if you guys have already received $1.4 million.
No, 1.4 ongoing projects that has
Ongoing.
already been approved. We do have invoices from our part that we need to submit. That's about 300,000. We are waiting for some reimbursement from CDBGR. That's about 100,000. And then we have some requests that we have submitted to CDBGDR and we're waiting for approvals.
So these reimbursements are going back to the main account,
Yes.
all right? So,
But they're not, are they reimbursements? Yes, they're. Okay, they're reimbursement, but we used our funds to pay the vendor.
Sure.
And then once we get it, we'll replenish back our.
okay, so that's what I'm saying. So let's look at scenario one, for example. You got the best case scenarios, we were looking at $10.9 million, right? So if we're using up monies from, because you guys can carry over funds, right? You guys are not limited, the fiscal year limitation where you're gonna have to revert the money back to.
No.
It stays with you guys, right?
Yes.
So those accounts, let's say less $2.7 million, and you get reimbursed back the $2.7 million, that makes you guys whole again, correct?
Sorry, just one second. If
Oh, this is Ed Kessler Duresa, Chief Accountant of MBA. So regarding your question, Vice Chair, CDBGR expenses are separate from our local expenses, and if they gonna reimburse us, it's just gonna reimburse us the money that we spent first, not actually reimburse our general fund.
So what money are you using? What special account are you using for these projects?
So right now we're trying to tap in all of our reserve funds, so to pay that first. Then if ever, then they will just reimburse that.
And your reserve funds is how much outside of the building fund?
Currently, we have at least 2.8 million of our funds, and 2.5 is the building fund out of the 2.8.
2.5 out of 2.8 is the
Building
building?
fund,
Also,
yes.
the reserve account is the building fund?
Yes.
Technically, okay. So 2.8, so that's the money you guys have been using.
Yes, to pay first, then we bill CDBGR for the reimbursement of it.
Okay, so the best case scenario, they remit the $7 million to you guys, and you guys can use those money for these functions, right? So that would leave about $3.4 million left of CDBGDR, less than 2.7 and 1.4? I'm just asking because we're spending $1.8 million in Korea, $1 million in Japan. And if we can use the CDBGDR money to pay for those programs, we can actually save some local funds or HUD tax in this case directly for MVA's use for other types of promotional purposes. Since it's you guys got encumbered by December of this year, right? Is there any request for an extension to NMHC?
This grant has been extended to us like twice. We did ask for another extension, and they said that HUD will not.
Okay, so it needs to be encumbered by December
Yes.
31st of this
It
year.
needs to be pretty much spent.
Obligated?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I know that the HUD tax is not going to be collected up, everything's not going to be collected up front. Can we utilize these funds so that we can pay down for at least the first quarter? So you don't touch your local funds? For qualified projects, obviously, right?
Okay, let me see if I can. Right now, we have identified about $1.6 million that has already been paid by our local funding that we can request to CDBGR to get reimbursement that are qualified activities. 1.6. We're still looking at other invoices, but right now we have identified 1.6 that we can use. These are programs that were funded under our local funding or HOT.
So that 1.6 is different than the 1.4, correct? That you mentioned
Yes.
earlier?
Yes, most of those they're not funded under our local appropriation or HOT collection.
So these programs that you've already paid for, you're using your general account, and you're trying to reimburse now your general account.
Yes. This
Okay.
the 1.6.
What about the 1.4?
The 1.4 are not budgeted under our HOT collections. They're additional
They're additional.
to be funded under CDBGDR.
Those are but you're asking for reimbursements, right? For
Yes.
this. This is the special account that you're using, the $2.8 million?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The $2.8 million is what the funds that are using up front, and you're reimbursing the
Oh.
2.8, the reserve
The
account.
reserve fund.
Correct.
All right, so then less $1.6 million that should be going to your general. That leaves you guys with 1.8. So that your general account would potentially get $1.6 million if everything qualifies.
Correct. But also that will also cover our shortfall for this year of 800,000.
Okay, so $1 million will be your recovered funds, right? So now we're eating into the $10 million. So now we're adding from 5 point whatever. Now you got $6 million. Now you got another $1.8 million left in CDBG-DR. What's that going to be utilized for?
The remaining payroll for fiscal year, we have some upcoming travel trade shows in Japan, as well as two from Japan as well. We're planning on hosting a Marianas Academy for Japan and Korea. These are bringing in travel agents, media representative from India, from Japan, Korea, as well as China. We have an upcoming show, the airlift development, printing of some collateral materials, as well as social media programs and market development for other markets, untapped market.
So these are new programs.
Some
that
are
you're-
new, yeah, some are new and some are, the travel trade are ongoing, like annual.
Okay, so the travel trade program, for example, would
Yeah.
cost $50,000, for example, right?
It all depends. For example, for Japan, we're looking at one show, 70,000, and then there's a diving show in Japan that's about 18,000. So it all depends on.
And
the
those
show.
are regular programs that
Yes.
you're using. So, okay, now we're supplementing that back in.
We're using CDBGDR to fund it.
So that would mean that you'd free up money in your general account. So that $1 million, whatever that's extra, you're not tapping into that. You're just using directly CDBG-DR funds.
We're using CDBGDR. We're not using local funding.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But these are ongoing programs. It's something that's been budgeted within the fiscal year. Anything outside of that, the additional programs, you're using the extra money that's coming from CDBG-DR to pay for those programs.
It's,
Most of our programs under CDBG-DR are not actually funded using our local funds or not even budgeted for the.
I do understand that, but the regular programs that are under MVA are gonna be paid for by the general, I guess your general fund, right? So if you didn't have CDBG-DR, you're still gonna have these programs and you're gonna use your general fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that would mean that you're not tapping that 70,000 or the 18,000 from the general fund. You're just using direct CDBG-DR funds. at least for the next this
For
this
this,
fiscal
yes,
year,
correct.
right? So that would mean that you're still remaining that $1 million as a carryover fund for FY26,
That's, I think, correct.
right? Okay. I think, can we get a breakdown from all the CDBG-DR spending as a, Mr. Chairman, can we get that as a request so that
Yeah.
we can try to hopefully free up? I'm really hopeful that everything that you guys submit to NMHC would be paid for, so you don't, you'd supplement money back into your reserve account or your general account.
Let that request be an official request by this August body.
Sure, we'll provide that. Can we just go back to your question
Sure,
for
sure.
a second? Again, apologies. I'm also new at this, and some of these were before I was here, so I'm going to try and explain it, and maybe my team can help with that, right? So because we had CDBG-DR, we looked at all of our different programs, and we said, okay, we'll put these travel trade fairs under CDBG-DR, and then we didn't anticipate it or build it into our budget for those things for this year, for example. Instead, we used our budget for other programs, so it's not that it was built in and then just supplemented by CDBG-DR. It's that we said, okay, that's going to be covered under this budget, and let's not build it into our budget this year, and let's use our budget for some other purpose. So I think is that correct? What? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So for the past fiscal year, we identified two funding sources for MVA, the HOT collection and CDBG-DR.
Sure, I understand that. It's just, I know that MVA is trying to be creative in promoting the cinema, and any new types of programs that are available, you should try to hit it, right? And hopefully we have the funds to cover those obligations. But what I'm saying is that if there's existing programs that can be supplemented from CDBG-DR, might as well use CDBG-DR funds. Don't use your local funds, because you're tying your hands that when we come to December 31st and the reimbursements that you submit to NMHC get denied, and you don't even have an opportunity to even try to recover those funds anymore. So it's really, the intent here is to increase that $5.7 million less everything else, right, that goes to MVA, so we can increase that amount without touching any other funds at the moment. And then if we're able to find additional funding to get you guys to that $10 million, it's so much easier to get to $10 million from $8 million or $9 million than to get from $5 million. So let's take advantage of everything that's external to pay for what programs we have, or what additional programs MVA is trying to go after. If
Yes.
that's, if we can get that, I mean, honestly, we have no business with the CDBG-DR, but if we can help in making sure that they qualify to pay for these programs, then all hands on deck. We want to free up a lot of your general funds for you guys to be able to work and improve the status of MVA and the cinema and its promotional destinations anywhere in the world.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you for that. What we are doing is, instead of working on new programs and going through that whole approval process, and we know that the time is coming up where it's going to expire, we've shifted focus. So now the programs that we anticipated CDBG-DR to cover for the rest of the year, we are covering it under our local expense. And then we're taking any previous expenses that would qualify, and we're filing a reimbursement. So it's kind of just cycling the money through, yeah. But thank you for
All right,
that.
thank you for that. On the branding, I know that we're promoting the, I guess MVA's promotion is the Marianas, right? Are we working with Commerce and CEDA? The CEDA My Product Seal is coming up in like the next month or so, and if we're gonna promote the CEDA My Product Seal as the brand of anything exporting, like an exportation from the CEDA My, and MVA is promoting the CEDA My as the Marianas, wouldn't it make sense that when we promote the Marianas, the product seal talks about or represents the Marianas as well? Is that something that maybe we may have to change by law, either the CNMI product seals to be renamed to the Marianas product seal, so that we kind of we're on the same team. We're not promoting the CNMI the same way. It's just it's weird.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's where this task force that we're putting together is going to be really crucial. And you're right, we should come up with a very unified approach in everything we do, whether it's marketing, our destination, or our products. Derek Sasamoto from CETA and I have had a discussion about the need to unify our message, and we will look into that. And I'm not sure where the design stands right now with the seal, but we can look into it and come up with a unified approach.
All right, thank you for that. And I guess the chairman brought up the incentives that MVA continue to help out with the airlines as a as making the CNMI the destination. And we spoke about this in an informal meeting regarding using the funds within ourselves right now, right? And with the landing fee, the fuel tax, for example, we got the SOF here. She can kind of work on removing the fuel tax to that extent. But the landing fee, for example, and rather than pay the airlines for these seats, pay CPA to drop the price down. Is that? I think that's something we should do. Let's spend our money amongst ourselves right now to decrease the cost for traveling into the CNMI, so that the money stays here and everything else is going to be fat to the meat that we build on. Is that something that we're going to be hopefully working with CPA very soon?
Definitely, and I like that idea, and we fully support that idea. And it will be great for us to come up. It could even help us with our marketing and our approach to the airlines. We could even say, oh, free, zero landing fees, or zero landing fees, zero costs for the airlines, and then we just take care of it within our agencies. I think that would be also a great approach to the airlines.
All right. Thank you for your answers. Thank you for your presentation. And shouldn't you need our help in changing legislation to assist you guys improve the status of MVA and improve the opportunity to promote the CNMI, please, our doors are open. And Mr. Chairman, thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you, Vice. Are there any other members who have questions? The chair would like to ask perhaps this to Madam's Secretary of Finance. Madam Secretary, how much thus far have been collected in hot tax currently on this budget right now? Do you have that figures right now?
If you give me a moment, I can answer your question.
Sure. And if you can also extract from the collection thus far, how much are already have been remitted to all municipalities? If we can get that figures too. And while our secretary is getting those figures, Madam Director, I know that you had your presentation, but I know that there is such a thing with sports tourism, right? And we wanna, can you kind of explain to the body with regards to sports tourism, what are NVA's goals and objectives or mission or plans for this upcoming fiscal year?
Sure, I'll mention some, and then maybe if I miss anything, Thomas can add. But we do promote sports tourism. Recently, we've engaged with the Korean Baseball Organization, and their national team wanted to do their training on the island, on Saipan. Actually, they were looking at both Saipan and Guam to do their winter training. And they did a site inspection in May. They came to Saipan, they went to Guam, and they really prefer Saipan. But the problem was that our facility didn't have the full facility that they require, which includes a pitcher's bullpen. and some other minor repairs. And so we informed the governor, and within ourselves, we discussed how we can make it happen. We also worked with NMSA, and we are working on constructing that for them in time for them to come in January. And with that, they agreed to do their winter training here, and that would just open a whole opportunity for more of that kind of training. Also, we have a golf group that just arrived on Friday, and they brought in with them a total of 17, a group of 17 like professional golf players, including influencers. And they left this morning. They left back to Korea this morning, but the purpose of that is so that they can also reach out to their followers and all the people who follow their channel to promote golf in the Marianas.
Right. And I think that's very promising to hear that you guys are also focusing on golf, most especially in Korea, because in Korea there's this madness about golf, and we're talking about all kinds of ages, adults down to young generation, and you know, it pretty is cold on winter in Korea, and so these golfers, they tend to go to tropical islands, right, to continue that madness of the love of the sports. And I think we need to put emphasis also on golf. But going back to the bullpen, that which you're already trying to help, or perhaps Namasa, who is the custodian for our baseball field. How much would that cost MVA to build that bullpen?
So we recently got quotations for about $145,000.
Wow.
But we are trying to reduce that, and we're also trying to tap into other resources so we don't have to use our local funds. We're trying to see if there are any like CDBG, DR, or CDBG funds that are available. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. 145K. That's perhaps a good addition to our sports complex. So maybe perhaps you should work with Namasa that when this team from Korea comes, that they kind of waive all those maintenance fees that they're as a partner in helping this sports tourism, right? Because you're going to spend a pitcher's bullpen, and which is going to be a perfect addition for the sports complex.
Yeah. And it's also it's for tourism. It's for this group to utilize, and it's for future groups. But it's also for the community. I think it's something that we really need. And I heard that the previous one was damaged by the typhoon, so it's a great improvement for everybody.
Thank you for that response. And Madam Secretary, do you have the figures?
So my staff just set the report. Our total revenue collection is 3.5 million to date. The 80% share to MVA is 2.8 million. And then there's a breakdown to the municipalities. But then the overall payment to MVA is 2.5 million.
2.5. So you mentioned 2.8 earlier.
Yes, that's the 80% to the trust fund, and then there's a reduction because of the allocations to the municipalities. Yeah.
So in totality for MVA is 2.5
Yes.
thus
To date,
far.
yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Are there any questions from any member? Yeah. All part? Let me recognize the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, so this 2.8 to date from October 1st?
I believe this is of the June collection.
Oh, June collection. Okay. So we don't see, and that's when the flights kind of went out, no?
Yes, yes.
All right, so, okay, just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Director, I know that perhaps T-Way had already provided notice for the unsuspension of flights, but we're still waiting for Jeju to give us that notice to unsuspend those flights that are supposedly, I think it's the morning flights, right? And do we have any information from these airlines? Because the reason why I'm asking, because if these flights still come in suspended, of course, apparently it's going to impact the arrivals of tourism, and then, of course, it's going to impact our collection for hot tax. So we need to prepare for that impact. And do you have anything in regards to that as of now?
Just to provide more information, so with the support that we were able to negotiate with Jeju, they will provide 2 flights a week uninterrupted from now until the end of October. And then into the winter season, so far they've confirmed with CPA 1 flight a day. And that is a little bit concerning, but they haven't yet, there's still time to work with them and see if we can get that 2 flights a day for the winter season, which is starts at the end of October until March. For T-Way right now, they are flying. They're 1 flight a day, but they have shared with us that for a couple weeks at the end of August to September, and then again September to October, there will be disruptions in that, and we are trying to work with them, but unfortunately they've confirmed that those will indeed be suspended. So we work with Secretary of Finance, and she has asked us for our 3rd quarter projections, and we will provide her with that so that she can do the calculations accordingly.
Anything with Hong Kong Airlines?
Yes, so right now we are hearing that Hong Kong Airlines will resume their flights potentially toward the end of September. We're trying to see if that could possibly be moved earlier, because there is an appetite for travel already, because a lot of people intended to travel since April, but they haven't been able to. We are seeing some Chinese flying through Korea now to come here, but ideally we get those Hong Kong flights sooner. As we mentioned during our meeting on Friday, Hong Kong will likely start at 2 times a week, and depending on the demand and also the support that we can offer them, we would love to see if they could increase that to more flights, like 4 times a week.
Thank you for that response and update. My next question is, we also want to encourage NVA to be more creative, right? Because with airlines, we can agree that it's not only about the seats, right? And keeping those seats, but it's also about cargo. Sometimes cargo subsidize the seats, right? So it's important for NVA to kind of reach out with our businesses. I know we have Joe here, who is also part of the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, if we can have that connectivity, like with businesses that perhaps have some cargoes from Korea or Japan, to link up with also NVA with their efforts to fill in seats, because even when we don't fill seats, but if businesses are putting cargo in the airlines, then it incentivizes the airlines to consider more airlines our way, right? So those are the kind of creativity we ask NVA. When you guys build that task force that try to reach out to businesses, because we have some businesses that bring in products from Korea and Japan that do actually air freight their cargo, but work deeper with these guys and, try to lessen and subsidize amongst the seats and the cargo itself too. If that's something that I hope that you guys can look into when you guys build this task force.
Thank you for that. Yes, we would definitely be able to advocate for that, especially with that task force where there'll be both private and public individuals who will be leading it.
Thank you, and let me recognize Representative Vincent Don for questions.
Thank you, Chair. and MVA and your staff. Welcome. So I just definitely like have a lot of issues with this, with this budget thing because sometimes when some things just doesn't add up, right? And one of the things that I'm always trying to like figure out, excuse my ignorance, but I'm trying to learn as well. But like this, for example, or my gripe is with this 1%, that everybody has to pay for. But when they do an audit on such a small agency as yourself, that 1% becomes a lot.
Yeah.
And the price of an audit is not even worth that, doesn't even come close to that 1% that you have to pay into. Is there any way that we can remove, or not remove, but, to exempt them from that 1%? Because I do understand that, the cost of that 1%, when in reality, your audit probably costs like 20 grand.
Yeah.
But then you're paying like 50 grand.
Yeah.
And then that excess fund goes over to a slush fund. That's the general fund. I mean, to me, it's just not, I'm not understanding this, and I don't want to understand it. Because to me, it's just like money being played around. And that's being honest.
Yeah.
So if the agencies are getting, scammed by the government itself, I'll give you this, but I'm going to take this. How are you guys supposed to operate and to maximize your potential for every dollar that you receive or every penny that you receive? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't play politics. I don't deal with anything that doesn't make any sense, because I don't want to go insane. I'm trying to keep my sanity. But when we're all talking about budget and money and that we don't have, but then we're cutting everybody short, all because we want to have a slush fund, doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, we all complain about there's not enough money. Well, technically there is. Not a whole lot, but some. So if there's any way that maybe we could exempt them from that complete 1%, and only pay what they actually have to pay for. And OPA doesn't even provide the legislature with an updated budget, or an audit. They're like 2, 3 years, 4 years, I don't know, maybe 5 years behind. How in the world is the legislature going to assess, what's an actual budget when the people that are supposed to provide us with the information to properly, fund, agencies are behind? What in the world do we need a budget or an audit that is 2, 3 years behind? Any private business that operates that way is a guaranteed bankrupt business. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I'm trying to keep my sanity. Thank you.
Thank you. If you want to
Can I
respond, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And from what I hear from my team, OPA doesn't conduct audits, and we hire a private auditor. So I don't want to add fuel to that fire, but I appreciate your concern with that, and it would be great if we could consider other ways to address that OPA fee.
You still have the floor, Representative Vincent O'Donnell.
Right, and the only thing I'm asking is that if the audit costs 20,000, then that's all you're getting is 20,000, not 60,000 or 21,000. No, 20. That's it, and the rest you keep. That's all I'm saying. Because to me, I like logic. I like reason. It makes me sleep good at night.
Yes.
And every agency needs that funding. And I don't ever agree with slush fund. So, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Vincent O'Donnell. Any other members? If there is no further question from the members, Madam Director and Chairman of the Board and members and MVA team, we, on behalf of the Committee on Ways and Means, we extend our sincere gratitude and appreciation for coming here before this august body to answer our questions and suggest offer suggestions and kind of try to work together moving forward for this upcoming fiscal year. I know that a lot of your many challenges have been expressed through your presentation. We are taking notes. We are going to do our best on our budget deliberation. But with that, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity, if you have any closing remarks, also the chair of the board, if he has any closing remarks. At this time, I give you the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chairman Sablan, Vice Chair Ato, and members of this committee. Yes, we appreciate your session this morning, and we greatly indeed in need to stop the yield of less inbound and increase the airline presence. And there are good suggestions. Working directly with CPA, Vice Chair, that is something that I've brought up myself to the managing director. And the other one that's really critical is forming a task force. We are in crisis. We need to have a unified action and unified approach to guide us and continue on the momentum and traction that we are in. As we all know, the EVS stat is looking very promising, and that momentum needs to be carried forward. And thank you, everyone, for the positive feedback, as well as going through our presentation. It's reality. We're here to work with you, work with the administration, and our team are working very hard, as well as our board of directors, to make sure and to come up with new ideas as well, and move forward for this Commonwealth. Thank you.
Go ahead, Madam Director.
Thank you. So I would like to end with how we began and leave you with a simple message to move tourism forward. We must all sail together, and we need support, alignment, investment, and leadership. Support, we're asking for your continued support, not just in funding, but in championing tourism as a key driver of recovery and long-term economic strength. Alignment, we need to stay aligned. MVA is working hard to collaborate with airlines, businesses, and agencies across the government, but alignment only works when we're all moving in the same direction towards real, sustainable growth. Investment, tourism is one of the few areas where a dollar creates multiple dollars out. The return shows up in more flights, more jobs, more businesses for locals, and more revenue for essential programs. Leadership, and this is where everyone in here comes in, we're asking you to lead with us, not just by approving this budget, but by being active partners in the recovery of economy. Your support sends a strong message to our stakeholders and to the world that the Marianas is serious about growth, and we're doing it together. This isn't just MVA's work, it's our collective mission. Thank you again for your time, for your guidance, and for your continued leadership. We're ready to sail forward with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Tyrone and Chairman Villagomez. So with that said, we are now on item 6, announcement, and the chair would like to announce to the viewing public that today is our last scheduled budget hearing. This August body will start deliberating on the proposed budget that was submitted from the administration, and we are hoping in the very short time, perhaps a week or two, that we would create a budget that would be very fitting for this year's fiscal year. So with that said, we move now to our last order of business, and that is item 7, adjournment, and the chair now adjourns this budget hearing. We are now adjourned.